Hello everyone, welcome to Tutorials in Hand. In this video tutorial we are going to see how to write a C program to find the remainder and quotient of two user entered numbers. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. So first of all, before directly moving on to the programming part, let's understand the stepwise approach that we are going to follow. So let's say that you want to find the remainder and quotient of two numbers, then what's the first step that you will do? So first of all, in step 1, you will basically have those two numbers, right? So we'll take two numbers input. Right now, once we got that two number, then we are on the step to finally find what's the remainder and the quotient, right? Now, once we are done with that, then finally in step 3, we can print up the things, right? So this is the three-step approach that we have to follow in order to find the remainder and quotient. So let's start writing the program. So as we are aware that in any C language, the very first thing that we have to do is to include the header files which might be required in our program. So first of all, the very basic header file is stdio.h. So what it does is it gives us with functions like printf and scanf. So which basically means that if in C language we want to use printf and scanf, then we have to include this header file which is stdio.h. So let's quickly include it. Now let's start our main method. Now what's the very first step? So the very first step is to have those two numbers. So first of all, let's declare two numbers, and since the number is going to be of integer type, so we will declare it using int. Now let's tell the user what exactly he or she needs to do. Now suppose if the user enters two numbers, then what we as a programmer have to do, so we have to make sure that those two numbers get stored in these variables separately. That is, let's say the user has entered 20 and 10. So we have to make sure that 20 gets stored in num1 and 10 gets stored in num2, right? So that thing we can do with help of scanf, and the way how we will do it is we'll simply write scanf and then we'll provide modulus d. Since the data type of the number which is coming and which needs to be stored is of integer, that's why we have written d. Had the number been of floating type, then we would have written f. Now let's rewrite d, since we are aware that we have to take two numbers as input. And now let's say the user has entered the first number. So where exactly we have to store? So we have to store it in num1. So we'll simply write ampersand num1 and comma. The second number should be stored in which variable? So it should be stored in num2. So we'll write num2 like this. So up to this line, what we have done, so we have basically declared two variables, and now up till this line we are getting those two numbers entered by the user in num1 and num2, right? Now let's move to step 2, which is nothing but to find the remainder and quotient. So we can find the remainder of two numbers in C language with help of an operator called modulo operator. It is represented like this. So this gives us the remainder of two numbers, which basically means that if we will write num1 and modulo operator and then num2, then we will get the remainder whatever will be there. Now let's store it in a variable. So since we are aware that remainder is going to be of integer type only, so let's have a variable rem only of integer type. So let's store the remainder in this. Now talking about the quotient part, so first of all we have to declare the variable of quotient, right? Now let's declare another variable for quotient and let it be quo. Now how exactly we can find the quotient of num1 and num2? That we can do with help of slash. So with help of a forward slash, what it does is it simply stores the quotient of number num1 and num2 when they are divided. So now let's print up this result that we were looking out for. Now the first part, which is remainder, so it should be replaced by variable rem, right? And the second part should be replaced by the variable quo, right? Now let's return 0 simply. Now let's run this program to see everything working. And here you can see that it's asking me to enter two numbers. Let those two numbers be 20 and 10. And boom, here you can see that it's telling that the remainder is 0 and the quotient is 2, which is exactly correct. Now let's try out with another number. So let the number be 110 simply. And again, you can see that the remainder is 0 and the quotient is 10. So this is how we can write a program in C language to find the quotient and remainder of two user entered numbers. I hope you enjoyed the video. So this was all about the video. Thank you.